Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse study through the entire Bible. We are in Ezekiel chapter 4. I told you Ezekiel's prophecy, his ministry, has a lot of drama to it. So chapter 4 is going to be very interesting here. Um, Not only does it have a lot of very interesting drama, and just stay tuned in just a moment. You're going to see what I mean. We've already seen where God told him that he was going to go to set in his house. The people came and they put rope. They tied him up. They did. They just bound him, tied him up, set him up, kept him at kind of, and God said, "I'm going to mute you." Then we'll wait to see what God is getting ready to tell Ezekiel to do. And then, of course, later on, we're going to see some great, as we have seen, just some amazing revelation of heavenly creatures, all this kind of stuff here. So, let's get into this. Chapter 4, verse 1 says, "Now, you son of man, take a brick, set it in front of you, and draw the city of Jerusalem on it." Now, this is kind of interesting because remember, they are thousands of miles away, I believe, or at least hundreds of miles away. Then he says, "Then lay siege to it, construct a siege wall, build a ramp, pitch military camps, and place banner ramps against it on all sides." So, like what was going on with Nebuchadnezzar in the actual Jerusalem. He said, "Then take iron plates and set it up as an iron wall between yourself and the city. Turn your face towards it so that it is under siege, and besiege it. This will be a sign for the house of Israel." So again, he's going to constantly give them these illustrations of the fall of Israel, their sin. Okay. Verse 4, "Then lie down on your left side in the place and place the iniquity of the house of Israel on it. It says, you will bear their iniquity for the number of days you are to lie on your side. For I have assigned you the years of their iniquity according to the number of days you will lie down, 390 days. So you bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. So you want to be a prophet? Here we go, right? So he was to lay on his side, okay, for 390 days. Okay. I think these days represent, I'm trying to look at it again. Oh yeah. So the number of days is assigned a year. So a day is kind of represents a year here. Now, if you wanted to use this kind of as a template, for example, Daniel's 70 weeks, and a week represents 7 years, right? And then there were 70 weeks, okay? So when we get to Daniel, we will see that, and then we will refer back to this when we get to Daniel. But 390 days represents 390 years, okay? Verse 6, "And when you have completed these days, lie down again, but on your right side, and bear the iniquity of the house of Judah. I've assigned you 40 days, a day for each year." So again, 390 days for Israel, the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, and then 40 days for the southern kingdom of Judah. And then he says, "You must turn your face towards the siege of Jerusalem with your arms bare and prophesy against it. But beware that I will put cords on you so that you cannot turn from side to side until you have finished the days of your siege. Now, I don't know if he lied a complete day or lied a certain part of the days. Okay, either way, God was going to sort of kind of help him out, right? Notice he said, "I'm going to put cords on you so you won't be able to turn." So he's going to be on one side, right, and just lay there, and then he's going to be on the other side and lie there. So, and this is going to be what, over a year. Over a year and a half. Let me see here. Let me do some quick math here. What the? Um, all right. So 390. I'm doing some ciphering here. 390. 390. Okay. 390 plus. What am I doing at? 390 plus 40. Okay. That's 430 days. So just a little over a year, right? A year, 365 days. So a year and 65 days, if we want to put the right, a year, 65 days. Okay. Like I say, I don't know if if he was lying there 24/7 or lying there for a certain part of the day, but in front of everybody, he lied there. And again, remember I said, now, think about this, that God is referring to the house of Israel. Okay. He is referring to the house of Israel now as one. And not just the northern and southern kingdom. Now here he's doing this to say on how he is going to show them their iniquity. All right, verse 9 says, also take wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt, put them in a single container and make them into bread for yourself. You are to eat it during the number of days you are to lie on your side, 390 days. The food you eat each day will be 8 ounces by weight, and you will eat it from time to time. So again, you can see that he's going to be lying, and then at some point he's got to get up and eat. You can say and do other things, right? Like use the bathroom. He says the food you will eat each day will be 8 ounces by weight. You will eat it from time to time. You are also to drink water by measure, a sixth of a gallon, which you will drink from time to time. You will eat it as you would a barley cake, and bake it over dry human excrements in their sight. So get this, how he was to make their food, warm it up. He was to use bowels, human excrements, doo-doo. Okay. The Lord said, this is how the Israelites will eat their bread ceremonially unclean among the nations, where I will banish them. But I said, oh, Lord God, I have never been defiled from my youth until now. I have not eaten anything that died naturally or was mauled by an animal. And impure meat has never entered my mouth. By the way, one of these you can look at, he was more like a priest too. So this is one of the reasons why you kind of see that he was of the priestly line, the tribe here, Levite. Verse 14. So he replied to me, look, I will let you use cow dung instead of human excrement, and so you can make your bread over that. So God kind of gave him a break. Okay, don't use human, but use cow. I don't know if that's better. Okay, but literally you have to take cow dung, cow excrement, and that's how you cook your food. Verse 16, then he said to me, son of man, I'm going to cut off the supply of bread in Jerusalem. They will actually eat bread rations by weight,
and will drink water by measure. So they will lack bread and water. Everyone will be devastated and waste away because of their iniquity. Now again, in Jerusalem, this was kind of happening as he was saying this. This was actually going on. And notice he was to do this in the presence of people as a sign to their iniquity. Chapter 5, it says, Now, son of man, take up a sharp sword, use it as you would a barber's razor, and shave your head and beard. Then take a set of scales and divide the hair. So obviously, he had a lot of hair. And beard. And then you are to burn up a third of it in the city when the day of siege have ended. You are to take a third and slash it with the sword all around the city. And you are to scatter a third of the wind, a third to the wind. For I will draw a sword and to chase after them. But you are to take a few strands from the hair and secure them in the folds of your robe. Take some more of them, throw them into the fire, and burn them in it. A fire was spread from it to the whole house of Israel. So again, these are all imageries of the sinfulness of Israel. How they have not obeyed the Lord. God is showing them. So as people would pass by and look at Ezekiel, they would go, because y'all sinful. Verse 5. This is what the Lord God says. I have set this Jerusalem in the center of the nations, with countries all around her. But she has rebelled against my ordinances with more wickedness than the nations, and against my statutes more than the countries that surrounded her. For her people have rejected my ordinances and have not walked in my statutes. Again, another sad case for Israel. Notice he says here that the surrounding nations were wicked enough. Okay? The surrounding nations were wicked enough. He says, God's people, God's holy people who had his commandments, who had his ordinances, who had his blessings, they were more wicked than the nations around him. That's a hard indictment. Verse 7. Therefore, this is what the Lord God says, because you have been more insubordinate than the nations around you. You have not walked in my statutes or kept my ordinances. You have not even kept the ordinances of the nations around you. Therefore, this is what the Lord God says. See, I am against you, Jerusalem, and I will execute judgment within you in the sight of the nations. Now, so in other words, you live worse than them. They keep their better law. You don't even keep their laws. You're even more wicked than that. So I'm on now. He says, so now all the nations around you will see how I will bring judgment on you. Because of all of your, verse 9, because of all of your detestable practice, I will do to you what I have never done before and what I will never do again. As a result, fathers will eat their sons within Jerusalem, and the sons will eat their fathers. I will execute judgment against you and scatter all your survivors to every direction of the wind. Now, that's something we still see even to this day. The bulk of Jews are scattered right now to the winds, right, to all the nations around there. Verse 11, therefore, as I live, this is a declaration of the Lord God, I'm going to cut you off and show you no pity, because I have defiled my sanctuary, because you have defiled my sanctuary with all of your detestable practice and abominations. Yes, I will not spare you. A third of your people will die by plague and be consumed by famine within you. A third will fall by the sword all around you,
and I will scatter a third to every direction of the wind, and I will draw a sword to chase after them. Now, when you look at, and by the way, we're going to see coming up that how God will do this. We're going to see this. And he's going to show us some of these tests. He's going to give Ezekiel a, 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 a he's going to kind of, in a sense, unveil and show them the wickedness. I say that because this is a very severe judgment against the people of Israel. A very severe judgment. And this is why God said this. I'm really pouring out my anger here. But you also got to realize just how wicked these people were. And the realization of that says, okay, that God's judgments are just. Verse 13, when my anger is spent and I have vented my wrath on them, I will be appeased. Okay. Then after that, and then after I have spent my wrath on them, they will know that I, Yahweh, have spoken in my jealousy. And I will make you a ruin and a disgrace among the nations around you, in the sight of everyone who passes by. So you will be a disgrace and a taunt, a warning and a horror to the nations around you, when I execute judgments against you in anger, wrath, and furious rebuke. I, Yahweh, have spoken. So again, what we're witnessing right now, and again, this corresponds to what is actually taking place in Israel at this time. Okay. Verse 16, when I shoot deadly arrows of famine at them, arrows for destruction, that I will send to destroy you, inhabitants of Jerusalem, I will intensify the famine against you and cut off your supply of bread. I will send famine and dangerous animals against you, and they will leave you childless, Jerusalem. Plague and bloodshed will sweep through you, and I will bring a sword against you. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Now, again, you see this extreme, severe judgment here against God. Against the people of Israel, because of their extreme rebellion, sinfulness, detestable abominations. Notice again, and again, so it's important, I think, to keep this in context of as he is speaking this to Ezekiel. Now, keep this in mind that this is not happening to Ezekiel and the Jews who are now exiled in Babylon. So who is this for? Notice, it's happening to those who are still in Jerusalem. Now, you got to keep this in mind. Why is it happening to them? He already told them, he had prophesied to them. Go back to Jeremiah, that he told them. He said, look, judgment is coming, but if you will surrender, it will go well with you. So Ezekiel and those that are living in Babylon at this time are living under that mercy. You could say that mercy. But there are those who did not obey God and surrender. So this, what he's talking about, the famine, the fact that there are going to be people who will, and again, the famine and stuff will be so severe that it will result in cannibalism. That's how bad it's going to get. The brutality of the slaughter will be so bad. Why? They did not obey God to surrender. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. That's the contrast there. They're not experiencing it as we speak in Jerusalem, in Babylon, but they are experiencing it And so you could say in real time with Ezekiel over in Jerusalem right now. So, all right, guys, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome, and I'll see you in the next study.